guys, and welcome back to my channel. It's your girl 𝘼𝙗𝙤𝙪, and today I want to do a what's on my iPad med school edition video. That was a mouthful. So I'm definitely gonna have a lot more on my iPad than I actually need for med school, so I'm just gonna focus on the apps that I consistently use as a med student. So I'm gonna go ahead and take you to my iPad now. All right, so I'm gonna show you what's on my iPad, and I'm only gonna show you the things that I actually use for school. There are a lot of apps that are still on here that I tried and have not used since, and of course you can see that there are some games. So I just want to walk you through my study routine. So Anki is a big part of that. I do have Anki, and I have most of the apps that I use in one folder titled Education. So I have Anki on here, and this is really great for if I'm at the gym or if I'm in the car on a long drive and someone else is driving, so that I can use my time wisely, and I can multitask when possible, and then maybe save myself a little bit of time at the end of the day to do something that I want to do. So there we go, there's Anki. I don't use Osmosis as much for the videos anymore, but I do use it as a question bank, so I have Osmosis. I also recently got 𝑘𝙝𝙤𝙤, and that's the reason why you don't see it in this folder, is because it's very new. But this is also great, a really great question bank, especially now that I'm starting second year. I think I'm going to rely most heavily on 𝑘𝙝𝙤𝙤. And the other question bank that I use is through USMLE-RX. I also occasionally will use USMLE-RX for their videos, because they have really great, concise summary videos of all of the topics in first aid. And of course, first aid is the most high yield study resource for STEP. But I primarily right now I'm using Boards and Beyond as my main video lecture resource. Okay, so those are some of the pretty typical things. Now let's get into why it's great to have an iPad or some kind of tablet. You do not have to have an iPad specifically. I got an iPad because it's what was most recommended, and also because I wanted to do some things with music that an iPad would allow me to do. So I was like, okay, well, I can get the music and I can get the med school functionality. Let me go ahead and get an iPad. I also didn't get a new one. I do have a, I think 12 or 12.9 inch iPad Pro, but it's second generation, because the new ones were going for over $1,000. And even these, a new second generation, I think would still be close to $1,000. So I got mine used on, I think, Mac of All Trades. There's Mac of All Trades, there's Back Market, honestly Amazon. Oh, that's where I got mine from, was Amazon. I got my first iPad, my 6th generation, from Mac of All Trades. Had a really good experience with him. And so this one I got on Amazon. All right, so let's get into it. So one of the best things about having an iPad or some kind of tablet is being able to annotate your lecture slides. So my favorite note-taking app is Notability. Now you see Procreate here and GoodNotes, and I experimented with both of those apps a little bit before school started and also when school started. And early on, with GoodNotes, I was trying to be really cute about it and taking notes that I was like, oh, these are so aesthetically pleasing. But for one, they took too long. Two, I honestly didn't really figure out how to do all the calligraphy that great, so I looked a little dumb. And I just wasn't finding that doing this was helping me that much. So I did not see a need anymore for GoodNotes. Procreate was kind of the same thing. It's where you can be a little bit more artistic. You can get the calligraphy fonts. I mean, if you plan on doing that, go ahead, give it a try. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be worth the time that you're going to spend doing it. So Notability is perfect for me. I'm able to import lecture files directly from Canvas. You can organize them. So see, I have cardiovascular here, and then I have each week, and then I have all my lectures in there. This is honestly the main thing for me, is just being able to follow along with my professors and make notes in real time, because a lot of times they'll have a lot more to say than what's on the slide. Something like this is just a picture, but they're going to speak to that picture, and being able to make live updates is really, really cool. Also, I prefer writing directly on the slides to using like a laptop, because for a laptop, the only way I know how to do this is in like PDF or Adobe. And even then, you kind of have to like either write it as a comment, or you can put a text box, but then it might be like kind of overlapping on some of the words in the actual slide. I just feel like this is the most effective, because like immediately when my professor talks about something, I can like draw that arrow and make whatever point it was that I was trying to make. I can write right in here. Like, it's just really, really, really helpful. And it turns my lecture notes or my slides into something that I can just like grab and go when it comes time to do Anki. Notability is my go-to. I also have PDF Expert, and that's because some of my professors just love to upload their slides as PowerPoints, and they don't upload the PDF. Now, this is one thing I'll say about Notability, is it does struggle with files that are not PDFs. Sometimes it'll upload, but a lot of times it'll just get stuck on like 90% loaded and never load. So that's why I have PDF Expert, because I can take a lecture file from Canvas, open it in PDF Expert, and I can convert it to a PDF here, and then I can share it to Notability. So let me see if I can like show you an example of how I would do that. All right. Yeah, here we go. So this is a lecture deck that was uploaded as a PDF. I mean, as a PowerPoint. So you would convert to PDF. All right, then you would hit the three dots, share, original document, and I can share it to Notability right there. So this app is not free. I think it's an annual charge, and it's not really that bad to be able to have the convenience to not have to like open this on my computer and then download it as a PDF and then email it to myself and then open it up on my iPad. It just depends, I guess, how much you're willing to go through and if you want the process to be as smooth as possible. All right. Then I have Complete Anatomy. So this app is really great when you're going through anatomy. Now, most schools do systems now, and so that means you will probably be doing anatomy along with whatever system you're in. But this is really great for just helping you get a big picture understanding and spatial relationships of like the nerves, the arteries, the veins, everything. So on Complete Anatomy, you can add as many layers as you want. So right now we kind of have bare minimum. We can turn on the connective tissue. So yes, now the cartilage and ligaments are on, and you can kind of rotate this any kind of way so you can get the view that you want. You can add whatever layers you want. Let's add some muscle. And of course, different types of tissue have different amounts of layers. So muscle has a lot of layers. So if we add another layer of muscle, we get even more. And so you can click on everything in this image and it'll highlight it. It'll tell you what it is. It'll tell you the insertions, the origins, innervation, what they do. A really great summary over here on the left side of the screen. Another thing that's really cool is if you're looking for a specific structure, you can just search for it by name. So let's do external. Yeah, here we go. If like for whatever reason putting on the layers is just not finding you the structure you want, you can search for it and it'll highlight it like that. So the reason why this was really helpful for me was because in anatomy lab it's going to be really important to know the order of structures, which ones are deep, which ones are superficial, which ones are superior, inferior, all of that. So we actually had iPads available to us during anatomy lab for us to pull up the lab guide. And so a lot of people would also pull up Complete Anatomy on there because as wonderful as these images make everything look, it never looks this perfect. And so when you're in there and things are all the same color, it can get really hard to find certain structures, and sometimes you just need a reference point. So this really came in clutch in lab. And then also for your own sake of like learning the anatomy and the order in which structures should be identified. So 10 out of 10 would recommend Complete Anatomy. Alright, so that pretty much brings us to the end of this video. If you have any questions, concerns, comments, go ahead and leave those down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.